Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a 12-team PPR mock draft from the 11th overall spot on Sleeper. The roster positions for today's mock are 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, flex kicker defense, and 6 bench spots. But before we can get on into this 12-team PPR mock draft from the 11th overall spot, I would like to ask that if you guys are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, that you please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure that you do leave a like on today's video. It would help me out a ton. If you want to follow me on Twitter, please do so at NotoriousFantasy. So without further ado, let's get into this 12-team PPR mock draft from the 11th overall spot using Sleeper. So the first pick of the draft was Justin Jefferson, followed by Jamar Chase, Christian McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, Bijan Robinson, Austin Eckler, Travis Kelce, Stephon Diggs, AJ Brown, and now we are on the clock. Very normal start to the draft. A lot of the time, though, you will see Eckler go ahead of Hill and Kupp, but I don't necessarily disagree with the order of the picks. I think Bijan could easily finish ahead of Austin Eckler, but we have seen Austin Eckler play for the last couple of years and absolutely dominate the NFL landscape. This is a guy that could get over 100 plus targets, 1,000 rushing yards, 1,000 receiving yards, both together in the exact same season. This LA Chargers offense is built to dump the rock off to Austin Eckler. So I think he has a huge year yet again, but I get the argument someone might want to make to take Bijan over Eckler, Kelce at the 8 hole, Diggs, and then AJ Brown. So for me, this is a relatively easy decision, right? We're not going Pat Mahomes. His ADP is rank 13 on Sleeper. That is just way too egregious for me. I don't want to take a quarterback in the first round, and I definitely don't want to take a quarterback at the beginning of the second round. In a lot of leagues, all 3 of the big 3 quarterbacks, Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, and Jalen Hurts, might all be gone by the end of the second round, and that's fine with me. Right? I'm just not going to take him there. There's too many skill position players in the first 2 rounds to be reaching for a quarterback like this, especially in a 12-team league where, in my opinion, the quarterback value is suppressed. In a 10-team league, sure, where everyone's team is fucking stacked, go ahead and draft a quarterback in the second round potentially, right? But in a 12-team league, I feel there's virtually no need to do that. So for me, it's between Saquon, Nick Chubb, CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Adams, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now, Amon-Ra was dealing with an injury, right? He suffered a lower leg injury during practice. That is something to monitor. It says St. Brown did not head to the locker room and rather is working through his injury on the side. So that doesn't seem to be super serious. Obviously something to monitor though. So based upon the wide receivers available, I think 9-inch Nicholas Chubb could fall back to us here at the 2.2. So we're going to go wide receiver here, and we're going to go with my highest ranked wide receiver, and that is Devontae Adams. I know other players definitely prefer CeeDee Lamb to Devontae Adams. My reason why I like Devontae Adams so much is that this guy was legitimately amazing with Derek Carr. He was amazing with Jarrett Stidham, so you better believe he's going to be great with Jimmy G-Spot, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy Pornstar as the signal caller for the Raiders. This is an offense that, especially if Josh Jacobs isn't there, is going to run through Devontae Adams. This guy is one of the best receivers in the NFL. You could argue he is the best receiver in the NFL, and you can get him sometimes in the second round. It is almost laughable how much people are discrediting Devontae Adams right now. So our pick here has been made easy by the fact that 9-inch Nicholas Chubb fell to us in the second round. Had he have not been here, I definitely could have considered Tony Pollard, Josh Jacobs in this scenario. I know some people might be a little nervous to draft Jacobs because of the holdout, but I honestly think he's going to end up folding, but we shall see, right? Maybe I'm wrong and look like a fucking buffoon drafting Josh Jacobs in the second round when he just doesn't show up the whole season. If we were going to go receiver, though, it would be Amon-Ra St. Brown. Even with that injury, it doesn't appear to be anything serious. Not as much of a doctor as Johnny Sins, but ultimately, I think he's going to be fine. We are still a couple of weeks away from the season, but if it starts coming out today, tomorrow, the next couple of days, that maybe Amon-Ra isn't as healthy as I thought, then there's reason to start to get really nervous about him. But we're going running back. We're going with 9-inch Nicholas Chubb here. I basically draft Nick Chubb in the second round every single fucking time he falls there. To me, he should be a guy that is taken at the 111, the 112. The only reason why I didn't take him at the 1.11 is because I felt like he was going to fall to me inside of the second round. This guy is going to be on a much improved Browns team. This guy was running a train on defenses when Brissett was the quarterback. He looked fine when Watson was there. Now imagine what he's going to do if Watson actually steps up. I think we see a much better offense out of this Cleveland Browns team this year, a much more consistent offense. And without Kareem Hunt, 9-inch Nicholas Chubb is in a situation where he is going to see a lot more targets. Now he's not going to get like 100 plus targets or something crazy like Eckler could, but maybe 50, 60 targets, and that helps Nick Chubb out a ton. Again, going to get some of the highest amount of carries, highest amount of rushing yards, and potentially the highest amount of rushing touchdowns. After a 9-inch Nicholas Chubb, we see Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Josh Taylor? Jonathan Taylor. I don't know why I forgot his name for a second. A lapse in judgment, like my name was Logan Paul. Jonathan Taylor currently dealing with a quote-unquote injury, rehab and things. Personal matter. I don't know, Jim. I don't know. Personal matter. We'll see. This seems like one of those, hey, it's a personal matter. I don't want to be on this fucking team anymore. I don't want to play here. Very, very strange. I am extremely scared to draft Jonathan Taylor right now. After Taylor, Derrick Henry, Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Mark Andrews, Josh Jacobs, Jalen Hurts, and Devontae Smith. All three of the big three quarterbacks gone in the second round. Sucks because I would just be ecstatic to get one of them at the 3.11. But at this point in the summer, it's basically a foregone conclusion that unless you're one of the earlier picks in the third round, you're just probably not getting one of the top three quarterbacks. The third round opens with Jalen Waddle Ramondre Stevenson, Tony Pollard, Breece Hall, Chris Olave, Najee Harris, T. Higgins, DK Metcalf, Travis Etienne, and Joe Shiesty. When these quarterbacks come off early in the second round, that also propels guys like Lamar and Fields to go even earlier. I love Lamar Jackson. I love Justin Fields. But at the end of the third round, I am going to be a little bit trigger shy, right? I'm not necessarily trying to pull the trigger there on them, even though I think both of them could be the quarterback 1 and the quarterback 2, finish ahead of Mahomes, Allen, or Hurts potentially, but it does scare me. I like them a lot better when they're coming in the 4th, the 5th round. You know, the price is just a little too hot for me. Looking at the running backs, Jahmyr Gibbs, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones, Kenneth Walker. Looking at Joe Mixon, they said he exited practice, this, that, and the other thing. Joe Mixon is currently on trial for what happened a couple of months ago. Now, the NFL moves at the pace that old people fuck, right? It might take them a while to suspend Joe Mixon, but I'm starting to panic a little bit, right? I think he's a good value in like the 4th, the 5th round where he's going, but right now I've kind of put a stop to things. I'm kind of nervous about this situation when it comes to Joe Mixon and him potentially catching a 3 to 6 game suspension. Looking at the running backs, though, after Jahmyr Gibbs, I like Aaron Jones, but I've noticed on Sleeper, the running backs, by the time we get to pick again in the 5th round, are probably going to be gross. Absolutely disgusting. So the question is, do I pull the trigger on Gibbs here, or do I wait until the second round? I think since I want Gibbs, I don't want to leave it up to chance. Gibbs is going to be the 1B to David Montgomery's 1A in the offense. He's going to be the pass-catching back of the Lions. He's going to get some rushing opportunities. He's not going to be a workhorse running back. Mixon, Aaron Jones, these guys have the workhorse potential. Obviously, Aaron Jones has A.J. Dillon behind him, but you get what I mean. Joe Mixon could easily be the workhorse running back on the Bengals. But I don't think Jahmyr Gibbs needs all of those snaps to be successful. Going to catch a bunch of passes. Has some, obviously, rushing upside as well. Incredibly fast coming out of college. So I like Jahmyr Gibbs a ton. I have talked up David Montgomery a bunch. But that does not mean that I am off of Jahmyr Gibbs. After Gibbs, we see Deebo Samuel followed by Lamar Jackson. Again, the early 4th round, I get it, right? I guess that's where you have to draft him if that's where the ADP is sitting. But for me, I would rather just wait, if I'm being honest with you. Like, I love Justin Fields. There is no way he's coming back to us in the 5th round, but I am just waiting to draft him. I'm not doing that personally in the early 4th round. If I was back here, yeah, maybe I'd pull the trigger, but early in the 4th round, just a no from me, dog. But before we make this pick, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that like button down below if you have enjoyed. The wide receiver pick here is as easy as it gets. Calvin Ridley is still sitting in the 4th round in a lot of drafts. This motherfucker should be a stone cold lock to be a top 3 round fantasy pick. There are so many people that I see that are incredibly nervous about drafting Calvin Ridley. Watch the training camp clips. Listen to what his teammates are saying about him. Listen to what the beat reporters are saying about him. Every single person that talks about Calvin Ridley is getting down on their knees to give him the metaphorical gawk gawk 9,000. Everyone loves Calvin Ridley. Everyone believes in Calvin Ridley, but people are still nervous. He's a little bit older. He's getting up there in age. He hasn't played in a couple years. He's going to be rusty. He's not going to be rusty, man. I am telling you that for sure. Calvin Ridley is going to be going deep into defenses. He's the clear #1 wide receiver on a Trevor Lawrence, Doug Peterson offense. I am elated to get Ridley in the 4th round. I think where a lot of people do drafts come Labor Day in September, Calvin Ridley is probably going to be a locked and loaded 3rd round pick. After Ridley, we see Joe Mixon, Kenneth Walker, Keenan Allen, George Kittle, TJ Hawkinson, DeAndre Hopkins, Amari Cooper, Ron Jones, Terry McLaurin, Wiki, DJ Moore, Justin Herbert, the pervert, Damian Pierce, Justin Fields, Miles Sanders, Christian Watson, Jerry Jeudy, Madison, London, Lawrence, J.K. Dobbins, and we are up on the clock. I love that pick of Justin Fields in the 5th round, but in a league where there's 2 running backs and 1 flex, if you draft 4 running backs in a row, you are an insane person. And then to take Fields instead of starting to jam wide receivers, that is an absolutely insane strategy. Now, it's not impossible to see something happen like this. Some people are stuck in their ways of drafting a million running backs early. We drafted 2 running backs early, but drafting 4 in a league where you can't even start 4, I get it. Potentially in a league where there's 2 running backs, 2 flex spots, right? It's possible that maybe you just hit the nuts, right? McCaffrey's the RB1, Jacobs doesn't hold out, he's the RB3, Pollard's the RB5, and Aaron Jones the RB10. Bada bing, bada boom, you're looking hot as fuck there, right? Your team is on fire, NBA Jam style. But in this kind of a league where one of these guys, one of your top 4 picks has to sit on the bench, that's kind of crazy. Kind of crazy in my opinion. So we're up on the clock here, looking at the best players available. Pitts, Swift, Kamara, Goddard, Waller. I love Pitts. I love Waller. But in the 5th round, it's a little too high. I like Pitts because in a lot of drafts, he falls to the 7th round, the 8th round. At that value, he's a no-brainer. I get that he's fucked you guys over before. I never really drafted him. I stayed clear away. But I get that he's fucked people over. But that's because you had to draft him highly. So when he falls into the 6th, which I guess I'd feel a little bit more up in the 7th, the 8th round, a lot of that risk is mitigated by the fact that you can get him so late. But in the 5th round, no bueno for me. I love Darren Waller. I don't really want to take him in the 5th round either, but that's just how these drafts go on Sleeper. It's important to, when you guys are doing your mock draft for your fantasy league, do the mock draft on whatever website it's on. If it's on NFL, go on NFL, hop in a mock draft. Sure, shit's going to go bananas, right? Someone's going to draft a kicker in the 1st round, but you just got to eat it, right? ESPN, Yahoo, whatever. If you're on Sleeper, use Sleeper, right? And then if you pay for Fantasy Pros, like I do, you can just do a mock draft like it's on NFL and it's against the computer. That's what I typically do to prepare for my leagues, because a lot of my leagues are on NFL, but they don't pay me, so fuck them. So let's look at the picks here. Man, oh man, oh man. Running backs, we don't need another running back, right? We got Nick Chubb, we got Jahmyr Gibbs. We're looking either receiver, quarterback, or tight end. After all these quarterbacks have gone, Hurts, Allen, Mahomes, Burrow, Jackson, Lawrence, Fields, Herbert, this is just kind of a pick your poison, right? I like Watson. I love Tua. But why would I take any of them in like the 5th or 6th round? I'd rather just wait until like the 8th round, wait until later to get one of those guys. So we are going to end up leaning with a wide receiver here. Best wide receivers available: Chris Godwin, Brandon Ayuk, Michael Pittman, Tyler Lockett, Hollywood Brown. We are going to go with Tyler Lockett this time. I understand that Tyler Lockett definitely has a risk to him, right? The fact that JSN is there, but Tyler Lockett is a great flex option. You want to know why? Because Tyler Lockett in any given week has the upside to absolutely explode, go ape shit on your opponent. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen every game. He's going to have some down games, but that upside is why we draft him. He is far from a safe player, but in this Seattle Seahawks offense, I think there's going to be a lot of games where Geno is laying the pipe down for that ass like he's a plumber, and Lockett has a huge game. And the best part about it is I can kind of play the matchups, right? If I like the Seahawks matchup, I like the corner that Lockett's going up against, he's barbecue chicken, then you can go ahead and play Lockett. If not, you can play whoever we draft on the bench, which is going to be Michael Pittman Jr. This is another guy that basically everyone hates. No one wants anything to do with Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman this, Michael Pittman that. At the end of the day, this guy got fucked by the quarterbacks he's had to play with in the NFL. He's played with Carson Wentz. He's played with Matt Ryan. He's played with Sam Ehlinger. And he still performed decently. Imagine what's going to happen if Anthony Richardson is not a steaming pile of dog shit throwing the football. Michael Pittman is in an amazing situation to succeed. He's the clear number one receiver. Who else are they going to throw the fucking ball to as the number one, right? Josh Downs, Alec Pierce, sure, they're interesting players in fantasy, super deep in drafts, but they're not the number one. The head honcho, the head of the table, Michael Pittman Jr., target hog. I think he is going to be amazing this season. A lot of people say, Nick, the Colts aren't going to throw a lot with Richardson. Let's see. Do you really think they're just going to be the super run heavy team? Imagine if Jonathan Taylor doesn't show up. There's no way they can be super run heavy if that's the case. After Michael Pittman, we see Chris Godwin, Dallas Goedert, James Conner, Mike Williams, Cam Akers, Kyle Pitts, Brandon Ayuk at the 6.9. Very nice. I like Darren Waller, Christian Kirk, Dalvin Cook, George Pickens, Isaiah Pacheco, Mike Evans, Dak Prescott, Antonio Gibson, Hollywood Brown, Deshaun Watson, Tua Tagovailoa, David Montgomery, Juju Smith-Schuster, Jackson Smith-Njigba. Very close with the J and then the Smith, but this is the better player, obviously. Juju Smith-Schuster sucks. Donkey cock. So we're back up. We're back up on the clock here. Everyone has a quarterback now, right? Yeah, I think every single team is a quarterback. This is why I utilize the draft board. So now we know we don't have to draft a quarterback till at least the 9th round. Now, once the 9th round happens, that's typically when the people that even shouldn't be drafting backup quarterback, right? You drafted Hurts in the 2nd round. There could be an idiot in your league who drafts Hurts in the 2nd round and then just drafts a backup quarterback in the 10th round. Now, does that make sense? No. Should anyone with enough brain cells to kind of rub together do that? No. You should never do that. But people will do it. People will do it, especially newer fantasy players. And you got to kind of know your league. Now, obviously, if you're joining some random league, you're not going to know. But if you've been in your league for the last couple of years, go back, look at the history book, and look. How do people draft? Now, people are going to change their strategies, but there's probably the same dumbass who drafts 2 quarterbacks every single year, drafts 2 tight ends, drafts 2 kickers, drafts 2 defense. It's the same fucker every single year that does it. And maybe it's multiple people in your league. So looking at the board now, Deontay Johnson would be an absolute stud here. We still don't have a quarterback, still don't have a tight end. This is the range in tight end. We talked about this a bunch, where what's the difference between Ingram and Schultz and Kincaid and Higbee? Like at the end of the season, I don't think there's going to be a huge difference. Maybe Ingram just smashes yet again. I don't really think so, though, because they added Calvin Ridley. They still have Zay Jones, Christian Kirk. So I'm staying away from Evan Ingram, but I get why people like him. But in reality, like, what's the difference between them all? I don't think there's a crazy difference. Looking at the running backs here, I think we can wait, take one more receiver, and then snag James Cook on the way back. Jordan Addison did get a concussion, sadly, but it is middle of August. It's August 17th. No need to panic now. Obviously, if he gets another concussion, that's 2 concussions. That's worrisome. We worry for his health. But in terms of, would that make me be scared of drafting him? No. I talk about how, hey, you want to avoid injuries, right? You want to do the Matrix move where it goes slow-mo, you juke out the injuries, right? Don't go into your draft targeting these injuries because they are going to find you. And when they do, they are going to do naughty things to you. But at the end of the day, a concussion this early in August doesn't matter. That's not chasing injury. Now, if it ends up being really serious, the guy's watching fucking MacGruber on the plane ride home, then that's scary. But right now, I think Jordan Addison is going to be just fine. So we are going to go. Burks got hurt yesterday to miss a few weeks with an LCL sprain. That's one of those where it's like, thank God it's not more serious. But hell no to me drafting him. I was already kind of off of him. No way I'm drafting him now. So Deontay Johnson, Jordan Addison, Jahan Dotson are the picks here. We take Deontay Johnson basically every single time, so we are going to go with Jahan Dotson this time. I'm a big fan of Jahan Dotson. I'm a big fan of this left hands up. Who are we? The Commanders offense. This year, I think Sam Howell is going to impress some people. Now, I don't expect him to turn into Patrick Mahomes or something, but I think he's going to be decent. I think the addition of Eric Bieniemy as the offensive coordinator is going to help them a bunch. Jahan Dotson got hot last season. First round NFL draft caliber. Great player. Good situation. After that, we see Deontay Johnson and James Cook. Let him cook. That sucks, but it is what it is. I kind of assumed that was possible. Rachaad White, there is still zilch reporting on this shit. This guy suffered a non-contact injury 3 days ago. His knee buckled, and we still don't know. He tweeted, "I'm okay, guys," but who knows? Who knows, right? I don't think he sounds like fucking Mickey Mouse. Oh boy. But yeah, he tweeted that. I don't know. That's kind of clear stay away from me. Javonte Williams, I am so excited to see this preseason game. I am so excited to see on Saturday what Javonte Williams looks like. Is Javonte Williams fucking put the defense in a spin cycle, or is he running in a straight line and it looks like this guy is in a one-way path to the fucking handicap home, right? The retirement home. Like he needs to go back and start working out again, right? I don't know. We'll see. Right now, think you're getting a value on him? I think we see him run, and he looks good. On Saturday, his ADP skyrockets directly to the moon, so we're going to buy the dip right now and get Javonte Williams in the 8th round. I think he'll probably be a 6th-round pick come Saturday, again, if he can run effectively. After Javonte, Rachaad White, Jordan Addison, Kadarius Toney. I pointed this out, I think, in yesterday's video. This fucking creepy bastard. Look how creepy that is. Wearing the shiesty, looking real creepy. And I talked about this in the video too. The Pat Mahomes video where it says, Pat Mahomes, that video is so creepy too. Look that up on Twitter. Very funny video. After Kadarius Toney, Quentin Johnston, Michael Thomas, Brian Robinson, Treylon Burks, Brandon, let him cooks, Evan Ingram, David Njoku. Michael Thomas is a guy that I have galaxy brained myself into. Now, I said it in yesterday's video from last night. If you didn't watch that, make sure you do. 6th overall draft pick strategy. You can sue me, but I legitimately think Michael Thomas is worthy of an 8th or 9th round draft shot. Now, obviously, if your wide receiver core looks like this guy's, then you probably don't want to do it because you might be relying on Michael Thomas a bunch. But if you draft him and he flames out in the 9th round, 8th round, let's say, it's not really that big of a deal. But there's that chance that Michael Thomas is still Michael Thomas, the slant man, that Michael Thomas just somehow, some way stays healthy. By the grace of football gods above, Zeus and them, Michael Thomas stays healthy. He literally could be a top 12 receiver that you find in the 8th or 9th round. That's crazy. Now I get some people won't draft him. He's a huge risk. Michael Thomas has fucked people in the ass without the use of lube in fantasy football over the last couple of years. But something about that upside talks to me. Again, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not telling you to draft him on every team, but I think the upside's there. The 9th is A.J. Dillon. Love A.J. Dillon in the 9th round. Zay Flowers, Jamal Williams, not Jameson Williams. Very confusing because they both have the Lions jersey on there, but that is very much Jamal Williams. Pat Freiermuth, Gabe Davis, Juju Smith-Schuster, Corvette, Elijah Moore, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk O'Chains, Penny, and us. So like I said, this is going to happen. You draft Trevor Lawrence in the 5th round for no good reason. Should you be drafting Kirk O'Chains in the 9th round? But they do. They do it anyways. They don't think. Now, I think this team, it's very interesting drafting on all these different websites because on Fantasy Pros, using like the ESPN ADP, all those ADPs mixed together, the amalgamation of them, Richardson goes so late that he's free. Here, I have to draft Anthony Richardson as my QB1 and then draft a QB2, which I'm fine doing. If I'm drafting Richardson, though, I've made this very clear. I am drafting 2 quarterbacks 100%. Because with any rookie quarterback, I don't want to be playing them week 1. Just don't want to be playing them. I don't care if they look like Trevor Lawrence coming into the NFL, right? Obviously, Urban Meyer fucked that up early on, but even this generational talent, the second coming of Andrew Luck, the next this, the next that, I'm not drafting them, or I'm not starting them week 1. I'm fine drafting them, but I'm not starting Richardson week 1. I hope he goes out there, hangs his nuts on whoever they're playing against. But, yeah, up against the Jaguars, but definitely not going to draft him and throw him out there to the Wolves week 1. Looking at our backs, we got Chubb and Gibbs and Williams, our receivers. We got such a solid wide receiver core. I think we got to go running back again. This is a situation we find ourselves in a lot here in the 9th round. Or the 10th round, Charbonnet versus Herbert. It's a very good question to have. Charbonnet is the kind of riskier pick, right? Because on a weekly basis, you're probably never going to start Charbonnet if Walker is starting. Now, there's a chance that it's like a 45-55% split, and yeah, you can start Charbonnet, but with the running backs we have, probably not. But if Walker was to go down, then Charbonnet instantly becomes a guy that's in your lineup every single fucking week with top 5 running back upside. Herbert is a guy that is in a running back by committee. I think he's the leader of that group, but you can definitely start him every single week. The question is, do I want that weekly starter with the running backs we have, or do I want that risky guy? I think since we drafted Javonte Williams, who's kind of an unknown guy at this point, more unknown, I think we're going to go Herbert because we want that weekly starting potential. But if you were hunting for upside, I think Charbonnet would be the answer. So the team that drafted Lamar in the 4th round drafted Richardson in the 10th round. That makes sense. But again, that's what's going to happen. So we're going quarterback before we get absolutely fucked here by not drafting a quarterback. It would hurt like a toothy blowy to wait on quarterback again and then get trapped into like Russell Wilson or something. So we're going to go. We don't have any Seahawks. We don't have really anyone on these teams, so we're not getting a stack here. We're going Danny Dimes. Throw it on a dime like I ain't even trying. Daniel Jones of the Giants. I think this guy has top 5 quarterback upside. The rushing upside is there. Best wide receiver room he's had in his NFL career. And you match that with the fact that he can rush a bunch. Perfect. And Darren Waller's there now. Red zone dominator. After we went with Danny Dimes, Odell Beckham Jr., Zach Charbonnet, Jameson Williams, Cole Kmet, Dalton Kincaid, Samaje Perine, Cortland Sutton, Chig, Damian Harris, Devin 2 Chains, Lazard, Smith. The guy that drafted Hurts drafted Smith. Makes sense. Jerick McKinnon, Adam Thielen, Niners, Tucker, Cowboys, Eagles, Bucker, Jets. Do not panic in your draft. Don't start shitting yourself when people start taking kickers and defenses. Don't pull the trigger early. Wait. Please. Just wait. Don't get scared. Hold on to your socks and wait. Still don't have a tight end, but that's okay because my boy Tyler Higbee is still here. Tyler Higbee has great upside. He's the number 2 target in this offense behind Cooper Kupp. If Stafford's able to stay healthy, I know this is not going to be that same team from 2021 that was on top of the world, kissing the Lombardi trophy. But they don't have to be for Higbee to be good. Bills and then Danny Carlson. If you waited on Higbee, you can draft another tight end. I'm fine waiting and just, if Higbee sucks ass, you just cut him, right? No harm, no foul for me. So I'm going to go. We got 2 bench spots left. Some people want a backup quarterback with Danny Dimes. I believe in Vanilla Vic there, so we're not going to go with another quarterback. We're just going to go wide receiver and running back to close this thing out. Where's Zay Jones? Did someone take Zay Jones already? Zay Jones. Zay Jones. A lot of talk about Zay Jones potentially being the number 2 receiver on this team. I've read that on 2 receiver sets, we're looking at Zay Jones and Calvin Ridley. Not Christian Kirk and Calvin Ridley. Now, I've talked about this a bunch. This may be Fugazi, but that definitely makes me ecstatic to draft Ridley, who is not Ridley. It makes me ecstatic. I love Ridley anyways, but it makes me ecstatic to draft Zay Jones. But we already have Ridley, so we don't need Zay Jones on this squad. Probably going to go with another running back and a receiver, like I said. At some point, the running backs really start to fall off. The receivers are kind of fine in the 13th round. So we're going to go with Zeke this time. Nick, you can't be drafting Zeke in the 12th round. Zeke is washed. I think Zeke is washed as well. I still like Ramondre Stevenson. But let me be honest with you. Any given week, if you had to play Zeke, gun to your head, every single player on your team is fucking torn their ACL, knock on wood, everyone's dead. Zeke, in any given game, could score 2 touchdowns. They could get to the goal line. Ramondre Stevenson could have 199 yards, and Zeke will have 3 touchdowns, right? That's just how it be. That's just how it's going to be with this Patriots offense. It's going to be a little frustrating, but I think, and if Ramondre goes down, again, I don't think Zeke's got a lot left in the tank, but if Zeke's just kind of the guy getting a couple carries every game and he's fresh and like week 10 he has to come in and be the starter, he's going to actually look good in a couple of games. I'm going to be honest with you. After Zeke, We see a bunch of kickers, bunch of defenses. Russell Wilson, Mr. Unlimited. Rashad Master Bateman, Bryce Young. Okay, I thought they drafted 3 quarterbacks. The 13th opens with Elijah Mitchell, Sky with 2 eyes more, my old bitch lame, but my young ho Koo, Jared Goff, Tyler Algier, Jacoby Myers, Donta Foreman, Darnell, here comes the Mooney, Dulcich, and Rashi Rice. Dulcich literally looks like a surfer. Like, he looks like in a movie, though. Not like a real surfer, because no surfer's built like fucking Greg Dulcich, but he looks like he'd play a surfer in like a children's movie. So we're up on the clock here. We're going to go wide receiver, and we're going to scroll down. We're going to get real spicy here. Getting real spicy, and we are going to go with... All right. We didn't have to scroll down that far, I guess. We're going to go with John Mechie, potential #1 receiver on the Texans. I still think Nico Collins is the guy. I'll admit it, but I like that upside of Mechie. Great in college. Had leukemia last year, sadly, but he's back. Better than ever. After Mechie, Tyler, Boyd, and Jonathan Mingo. So we're going defense first. Again, a lot of people make the mistake. Nick, the Packers have one of the best defenses or the Seahawks, whichever team you like has the best defense. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's just whoever has the easiest opponent week 1. The Chiefs, they got the Lions. Get out of here. The Packers, I like their defense. They own the Bears, but Rodgers is gone. I don't know about that one. The Seahawks, they got the Rams. That could be a good one. But most of the time, I go with the left hands up. Who are we? The Commanders up against the Arizona Cardinals. Clayton Tune, Colt 45 and 2 zigzags. The must-draft defenses video coming up soon. I talked through all the defenses. Let's be honest, though. You guys can figure it out yourself. Like, if I didn't make the video, all you had to do is look at the schedule, and you can figure it out. Like, for instance, there's a team that's going to be playing the Carolina Panthers. I don't care what their defense is. They're going up against Bryce Young in his first game. Whoever's playing the Texans, you draft them. They're playing up against CJ Stroud in his first game. That might actually be the Commanders. It's not. I just talked about Arizona, but there's a team playing them. The Saints got the Titans. I like the Saints defense. And then the Titans matchup is pretty meh, but then they got the Panthers. Then they maybe get Jordan Love shit in the bed. Then they get Baker. There's like a reason to believe you might be able to start the Saints like 6 weeks in a row. Then we're going to go kicker here. Other picks after we went with the Commanders, Sam Laporta, Devin Singletary, Tank Bigsby, Raheem Mostert, Gerald Everett, Jalen Hyatt, Kendre Miller, the Short King, Kyler Murray, Derek Carr, Romeo Dobbs, Dawson Knox one time, if you are with me, Nico Collins, and Jordan, Baby, Do You Love Me? I don't even know what that fucking song is called, but you know. We're going to go with kicker, and we're going with the boy, Dicker, the kicker of the LA Chargers. So, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. If you did end up enjoying, I am going to subtract myself from the screen, leave a comment down below too, and then we're going to recap my team. But of course, I am on top of my team. We're going to just do the electric slide. Slide to the left, slide to the right, crisscross. Okay, so our team here, to recap, Vontae Adams, 9-inch Nicholas Chubb, Jahmyr Gibbs, Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett in my pocket, skirt, Michael Pittman, John Dodson, Javonte Williams, Khalil Herbert, Danny Dimes, Tyler Higbee, Zeke, Mechie, Commanders, Dicker. This actually might be my favorite team I've drafted in a mock draft so far. Let me know what you thought. Do you love it? Do you hate it? You love me, of course. And that was a Post Malone lyric. I think that I was saying that was his first ever song. Something, I don't know, you can just Google it. Post Malone, first song. It's on YouTube. It's not White Iverson. Everyone thinks that's his first song. It's not. It's like some class project he made. Well, not White Iverson, the other song. But I love you guys. Genuinely, Post Malone's my favorite artist. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Go Devils. Go Dolphins. Have a great one. As always, good.